Hello and welcome to the ARCS. We're live here from Joliet, Illinois for the running of the Red Robin 60. After Clay Stone secured his first career victory last weekend at Darlington, beating out all 16 playoff competitors, we now arrive here to see which driver can make their mark on ARCS history. Now let's take a look at the rest of the drivers in the field. Starting on the pole is Diego Tacone. In second, Matthew Bussey Jr. In third, Theophilus Morgendorfer Jr. In fourth, Ricky Quinn. In fifth, Mitch Barrier. In sixth, Theophilus Morgendorfer Sr. In seventh, Darren Kiefer. In eighth, Tyler Seville. In ninth, Roland Heidfeld. And rounding out your top 10, Sean Carson. And let's see the rest of the drivers on the entry list for today's race and get right on into the action in the second race of the ARCS playoffs at Chicagoland. And we're live here at Chicagoland. We've got a car off track already before the start of the green flag, and Patrick Turner is off the pace with an engine blowing before the start of this race. But Diego Tacone will lead us to green here at Chicagoland. And before they even take a lap, Patrick Turner's day is done. He will slide onto pit road along with Richard Petty. But Diego Tacone will lead this race. Coming out of turn 2, but the playoff driver of Theophilus Morgendorfer Jr. going to look to the inside on the backstretch as everybody gets up to speed here in Chicago. But Mitch Barrier, three playoff drivers on the inside line, all trying to boogie around Diego Tacone, the non-playoff driver. Whoa, we got a crash, folks. Up at the front, Diego Tacone and Ricky Quinn around. Will they avoid him? Oh, and there's more carnage. Mike Kopus, Noah Hobson. Oh, and they come back in front of the field. I think everybody's okay. A little bit of minor damage, but I think everybody should be okay. As we'll go back to the front of the field, and Diego Tacone will be your leader, so we'll get a replay in just a moment, folks. And we're back here at Chicagoland. Let's take a look at the replay. Ricky Quinn gets into Matthew Bussey Jr. Oh, and Theophilus Sr. gets turned around. That's that first portion of the wreck, and we'll cut to the second portion in just a moment here at Chicago. And here's the second phase of the wreck here. Mike Kopus and Blubber Plummer make contact, trying to avoid this carnage up front. And Mike Kopus gets turned into the middle of the field and takes out Noah Hobson, Trevor Walker, and I believe Maxwell Smart, and the rest of the drivers in the back of the field trying to avoid a little bit of minor damage for these drivers, but they will likely be okay. And that is the extent of the accident here at Chicagoland Speedway. And we're back here at Chicagoland Speedway after an accident early in this one. Two drivers are out. In 39th will be Cletus McFarland, and in 40th, obviously, Patrick Turner, who had a problem early in this race before the green flag dropped. And speaking of green flag is back out at Chicagoland. Diego Tacone has retained the lead here, and everybody will be strung out here early in this one, but Darren Kiefer getting a nice push from Matthew Bussey Jr. on that bottom lane as they form up nicely. Oh, and 3 wide already. Bussey Jr. is taking no prisoners, maybe 4 wide into turn 3. Oh my goodness, folks, it is tight up at the front. Was 4 wide for just a second, almost 5 wide here. Oh, will they make it? Oh, they will. But that's going to give Diego Tacone some breathing room. What is going on here at Chicagoland? Oh, Sean Carson making contact with Tyler Seville. Darren Kiefer has to be sweating pretty heavily. Oh, and he's in the wall. Oh, Theophilus Sr., Jr., what is he doing? Oh, they took each other out. Oh, and a big wreck on the backstretch. Theophilus Jr. is upside down, and so is Ricky Quinn. 2 playoff drivers on their lid, and the rest of the field is wondering what the heck was going on at the front of the field and why they were so aggressive. What is going on? And we're back here. 5 wide, folks, 5 wide here at Chicagoland, but it does not work out as the 2 playoff contenders of Darren Kiefer and Theophilus Jr. go around. Oh, and Michael Renninger spins the 24 into the air like a top, and so does the 43. And just like I talked about before the break, their playoff aspirations are upside down, like it is at Chicagoland and how they sit on track. But Denzel Scott with a little damage, but a couple other playoff drivers involved, but my goodness, the intensity has ramped up here at Chicagoland, and we'll get back to the action in just a moment. And we're back here at Chicagoland. Let's take a look at all the drivers who are out of this one. We know who's in 39th and 40th, But let's take a look at 38th on up here. In 38th will be the 10 car of Jordan Walker. In 37th will be the 22 of Ellie Buss. In 36th, Michael Redinger. In 35th will be Ricky Quinn, the playoff driver. Big implications there. In 34th, Mike Kopis. In 33rd, the 3 car of Theophilus Sr. In 32nd, Roland Heidfeld. In 31st, Manglo Stinglebinch, a playoff driver. And in 30th, Dave Wilson, a non-playoff driver. And then Theophilus Jr. is 1 lap down. But Diego Tacone has the lead here, as he has had for the majority of this race. We'll see if anybody challenges. Matthew Bussey Jr. drops to the inside, trying to get draft off of that 2 car. 3 wide for 3rd place. Hopefully we will not see the return of 5 wide here at Chicagoland, but the Spam car under the lights looks very slick. And we'll see what the Spam car can do as he drafts behind that 2 car, that Miller Genuine Draft Ford. Oh, Jerry Funk comes off the corner, gets really loose, and almost into Ryan Hubbs, the playoff driver. Matthew Bussey Jr. holding strong here, just trying to get draft off that 2 car. But Ryan King up here, how about Ryan King, the non-playoff driver, trying to battle it out with all the other drivers here in this field. He's got a good run and a good push from Tony Anson. That 17 car is Tony Anson trying to use the middle groove here at Chicagoland. Ooh, we got 3 wide, almost 4 wide here. Oh, that might not work out. I would figure that out quite quickly here at Chicagoland because we know how the 4 wide works here. Oh, and Tony Anson on that outside. He has to be sweating pretty hard just like Darren Kiefer. Oh, and Tyler Seville. Oh, and Tony Anson's in the wall. Tony Anson, no, as he holds. Oh, and we got a caution. We have a caution. What for? We don't know, but Noah Hobson is slow on track, and we'll cut to the leaders and see who makes it back to the line. And I believe Diego Tacone will lead us to the caution flag here at Chicagoland. But who will get second? It's a drag race. Oh, and I think, yep, Ryan King got second over Bussey Jr. We'll get a replay of the accident in just a moment here at Chicagoland Speedway. And we're back. Let's take a look here. More playoff drivers involved here, but they're all racing in the back. Jack Porter, Theophilus Jr., Maxwell Smart. Oh, and they all go around. And they are just trying to fight for every single point because they know it is a chase-style format and no win will get you in to the Final 4 here in the ARCS playoffs, so every single point matters here at Chicagoland. And we'll get back to the action in just a moment. And we're back here at Chicagoland for the Red Robin 60. We're almost halfway complete in this one. 18 of 40 complete, almost going to be 19 at the stripe. Diego Tacone has led the majority of this race, but we'll see if that will change here in the middle portion of this event, as Bussey Jr. is going to try to step below Ryan King, as Bussey Jr. was second before they had that little drag race at the start-finish line. But how about Sean Carson, the non-playoff Dodge, that bottom lane, getting around Tyler Seville and Ringus McDingus, so a good restart for him. But Bussey Jr. might have a shot going into turn 3 here. Let's see if he can dive below and send it to the inside of the 2. Oh, and he won't. He's going to ride up just a little bit, but so will Diego Tacone. That might give these 3 or 4, I believe there are about 5 or 6 playoff drivers, or not, non-playoff drivers, I should say, that are up at the front of this field trying to dominate after some miscues early by the playoff drivers as Ryan King goes up the track, trying to utilize that outside lane to get anywhere. Oh, and he will use that outside lane to his advantage, drop below the 2 car, and how about Ryan King looking for the lead here in 3? Will he get it? Ryan Hubbs in that 14 car trying to use that outside lane as well, about 6th or 7th place there, but he will fall in line behind Deacon Gentleman. He's the top playoff driver. Oh, actually, that's a lie. Deacon Gentleman is the top playoff driver in this field, but Ryan King, the non-playoff driver, is leading here in today's race. Ooh, as Deacon Gentleman gets draft off of that 12 car of Sean Carson, his teammate there. But Ryan King and Diego Tacone dead heat, but Ryan King does not have any help from Bussey Jr., as Bussey Jr. has dropped back, and that drafting help is benefiting the 2 car on the outside line. We'll see who leads this lap. The shortest way around on the bottom. Ooh, but that 77 will get help from the 47 car of Tyler Seville. But Tyler Seville is kind of indifferent of what lane he will choose as he drops below. The 77 is going to make a top-to-bottom move. He's going to possibly make it 3 wide almost. He almost did. Tyler Seville making IQ 100 moves here at Chicagoland, but it does not pan out for that 47 cars. He's going to ride up the track just a little bit, but block Bussey Jr. in the process. And that's going to give Deacon Gentleman the bottom lane here at Chicagoland to try to get up through the field. About 15 cars roughly in this pack, you could call it, I guess you could say. Oh, Bussy Jr. with a good run on the bottom as he gains massive time to Ryan King. But Diego Tacone using his powers to stay in front here at Chicagoland, and he has definitely got a good sizable lead over Ryan King. Ooh, Tyler Seville way up the track. He'll try to gather that thing together as they come off 4. Whoa, and everybody tries to avoid that 47 car. But Ryan King in that Toyota, I should say, trying to get help from either Bussy Jr. or the 1 of Ringus McDing, or the 4 of Matthew Bussy Jr., I should say. As they are trying to file in single file here. Sean Carson going to make a move on Matthew Bussy Jr. in that spam car. We'll see how it works out here into turn 3. But as the field has mingled itself out here, it has allowed for more draft-dependent racing. And that will allow Ryan King to stalk that 2 car here at Chicagoland, as Ryan King had to look in his mirror every other corner, but he has the luxury now of just setting his eyes on that 2 car, and I think it is paying off as he might get maybe a good draft off that 2 car. I was going to say he was going to dive potentially in this corner to get the lead, but Ryan King about a half lane lower than the 2 car here, coming out of 3. Will he get the advantage coming to the stripe? Let's see. And I don't think he will. He's waiting to make his move here at Chicagoland. 26 of 40 complete here in the Red Robin 60. And let's take a look at the Red Robin fastest lap of the day. And the fastest lap goes to John Ross Stein in that 94. John Ross Stein switching back to his paint scheme to honor his father. And speaking of good passes here, we got Ryan King going to try to pass for the lead, as that was a move that had been kind of teased earlier in this race. But as I was saying, John Ross Stein in that paint scheme to honor his father, a firefighter photographer. And good for him, John Ross Stein, to have the fastest lap here at Chicagoland. Oh, and we almost got 3 wide for the lead here. But Matthew Bussy Jr. is going to back out of this move. But Diego Tacone has the lead once again. Diego Tacone is dominant here at Chicagoland. But Ryan King having a little bit of trouble exiting this corner. That car is just kind of bucking up and down as Bussy Jr. was able to get to the back of him. But we got 4 cars under a blanket trying to draft off of each other and get to the front here. But Ringus McDingus says, I don't want to sit behind you guys. I want to make passes here at Chicagoland. And Sean Carson as well going to try to pass Matthew Bussy Jr. But Ryan King just is pleading with these 2 cars behind him to at least give him some drafting help and push him up to that 2 car. It did happen earlier, but 4 cars roughly up at the front trying to draft their way away from the rest of the pack, as we've got 29 of 40 complete here in the race. 11 laps to go in this event. And we'll take a look through the field, the Red Robin field rundown, and we'll see where the play. Oh, John Ross Stein in the wall. He got too high off the corner, and that fastest lap was John Ross Stein's magnum opus here at Chicagoland, but he probably is just going to have to ride it out here in the rest of this race. But Matthew Bussy Jr. making a move on Ryan King for 2nd place, but Diego Tacone just been dominant, like we've said all day long. But if you remember back to a race that Diego Tacone was dominant in at Phoenix, Diego Tacone and a late race caution happened, and Ricky Quinn ultimately ran away with that race. And you want to know what happened to Diego Tacone? He ended up upside down on a barrier at Phoenix, so definitely don't want to see that. But Ryan King definitely had a good 3 and 4 there and has gained significantly on the 2 car. But, oh, Ringus McDingus, Sean Carson, and Matthew Bussy Jr. 3 wide in turn 1 here. Oh, Bussy Jr. up the track. I thought he was going to touch the wall, but he's going to use that outside lane and shoot himself out of a cannon. If you can time that outside lane perfectly, you can get a good run. Speaking of good runs, Ryan King's going to try again to the inside of that 2 car of Diego Tacone. When they come to the stripe, they'll get 8 laps to go in the Red Robin 60. But Ryan King's going to need draft. He's going to need a push from that 4 car of Bussy Jr. if he's going to want to get around that 2 car, as that outside lane is just really fast in turn 1 and 2 here at Chicagoland. As you can see there, Diego Tacone just gets shot out of a cannon. And speaking shot out of a cannon, Bussy Jr. on that outside lane going to possibly pass the 77. But it will all depend on how turns 3 and 4 go here at Chicagoland, as Ringus McDingus is up to 4th place here. But how about Andy Seville, the non-playoff driver, trying to scoot his way around the rest of the competitors? And I believe the highest running playoff driver is the 14 of Ryan Hubbs. Oh, and he is beating and banging. Oh, and he turns Andy Seville. Andy Seville's around. Oh, and playoff implications. Tony Jansen, Ryan Hubbs. Oh, and Jerry Funk. Oh, my goodness, and they keep piling it in. Oh, Draven Sandy, and that car's toast. Denzel Scott! What is going on? What is going on here at Chicagoland as they keep piling it in? All they needed to do was complete 7 more laps and a multiple playoff drivers involved. Oh my goodness, who was left in this race? And we're back here at Chicago. Let's take a look at the replay. Ryan Hubbs racing aggressively with Tyler Seville and Andy Seville, the 2 Sevilles. Oh, and the Seville brothers go around, but Christian Louisa goes around. Oh, Mitch Barrier, Tony Jansen. Oh, Deacon Gentleman, that car's junked. Denzel Scott, what is Denzel Scott thinking? Did Denzel Scott have, oh my gosh, something over his eyes, because he absolutely clobbered Draven Sandy, and Mitch Barrier and Jerry Funk are trying to avoid those cars there, but what in the world just happened here at Chicagoland as multiple playoff drivers are absolutely junked here in this one? And we're back here at Chicagoland. In 29th, the playoff driver of it, Denzel Scott, will finish in that position. In 28th, Draven Sandy. And then you have Mediocrity's Man Cannon in 27th. And those are the playoff drivers there that are out. But in 25th will be Mitch Barrier as well. So here we go, folks. 3-lap shootout here at Chicagoland to decide a winner. Will Diego Tacone survive his restart woes late in races? As, like we've said all race, he had a problem at Phoenix, and Ricky Quinn stole the victory to go on a streak from Phoenix to Dover to win 2 in a row and claim the first driver to ever win 2 races in a row in ARCS history. But Diego Tacone hoping they stay too wide. 2 laps to go here at Chicagoland as they cross the stripe. Ryan King needs to break away from that pack to try and catch that 2 car of not Andy Seville, Diego Tacone. But if Matthew Bussy Jr. can use that outside lane run and push from Ringus McDingus, he'll get clear. He's clear. That 4 car is clear. But Bussy Jr., will he drop below and try and block Ryan King? Bussy Jr. is going to have 1 more lap here at Chicagoland to try to catch the 2 car that's been oh so dominant here today. White flags in the air. A plethora of non-playoff drivers at the front trying to battle it out to get a win here late in the season. But Diego Tacone has been oh so dominant. Will Matthew Bussy Jr. have 1 last crack? Oh no, and Ringus McDingus is going to drop to the inside of Bussy Jr. He had a shot. Bussy Jr. did have a shot if he would have drafted to the back of the 2 car, but Ringus McDingus going to stall out those 2 cars there, and Diego Tacone in the Miller Light Dodge in the Miller High Life car is going to win here at Chicagoland in the Red Robin 60. Congratulations to that 2 car on a much-deserved victory here today in a chaotic race at Chicago, but the playoff drivers faltered and the non-playoff drivers surprised here in the Red Robin 60. And we're back here at Chicagoland for the Red Robin 60, and Diego Tacone claimed his first win on the season, so congratulations to Diego Tacone on a dominant victory here at Chicagoland. In second, Matthew Bussy Jr. In third, Ringus McDingus. In fourth, Ryan King. In fifth, Tyler Seville. In 6th, Sean Carson. In 7th, Cassidy Reynolds. In 8th, the highest running playoff driver, Deacon Gentleman. In 9th, last week's winner at Darlington, Clay Stone. And rounding out your top 10, Blubber Plummer, who is also a playoff driver in the field. And let's take a look at the carnage here at Chicagoland as multiple playoff drivers. I'd probably say at least half the playoff field was involved in an accident here at Chicagoland, so definitely a big point shakeup after Chicagoland. So hold on, folks, and you'll see the points in just a moment here at Chicagoland.